It's the official day 2 of our continuous learning. Yeah, I know, I gave you guys stuff to do before this, and you'll see some of those opportunities coming back to you, so it's not going to be all serious all the time. And when I mean that, I mean the traditional sense of what we do for science. But I still want to give you the opportunity to progress through portions of our learning that would have taken place had we been able to return to school after spring break. So today we're looking at those reproductive strategies and how some of them are adaptations that promote the continuation of species, because the number one most important reason for reproduction is for existence. If organisms cease to reproduce, well, then those organisms cease to exist on our planet. It's one of those necessary life functions. So fish spawning is our focus for today. So there are a few things that you are going to need to record. So keeping it short, that's my promise to you. I know you guys don't necessarily enjoy doing notes, and I've heard through the grapevine some grumbling, so keeping it short for you. Page 103, do know that you're going to have to take some pictures of the notes that you're doing and upload those. And as usual, I'm still providing mine to help you along the way. It's difficult to know what I'm expecting without me in front of you and the easy opportunity to just raise your hand and ask a question. So mine are still posted at the bottom of the page to guide you along, but again, keeping it short. So your page number, topic, essential question are here. Go ahead, pause the video so that you have time to write that stuff down. Okay, so I have a passage here that I want you to read. It's going to help explain what some of the words are that you hear. If you would like to read this silently, please go ahead and skip ahead in the video. I'm going to read it aloud for those of you that benefit from that. There are many aquatic animals that use spawning behavior for reproduction. Spawn is the eggs and sperm that are released into the water by aquatic animals. Spawning is the process of releasing these eggs and sperm into the water. It consists of the eggs being released by the females at the same time the sperm are released by the males. Some of the eggs will become fertilized and others will not. Some aquatic animals spawn all at the same time, while others spawn over time. There are many cues that tell fish when to spawn. The cause of this phenomena can be the temperature of the water, the phase of the moon, or the chemical signals in the water. Do notice I have highlighted some important information so that you can ensure that you are getting in your notes what you need. So there's some vocabulary and some key concepts here. Of course, please pause the video if you need to make sure that you have time to record everything that you want to have in your notes. So today's activity, we're looking at two options. Remember I told you, trying to make options a thing. If you want to do the activity at home by yourself, and please by all means do this if you can, you need 50 paper clips. You'll see in my videos and pictures that I used paper clips that were 2 different colors to help distinguish. If you don't have that, that's okay. There's a lot of flexibility here. The point is to be able to see paper clips that are coming in contact with one another. And then you need a container with short sides. If you have a box lid, great. If you have the plastic, cardboard, whatever. It's just so that your paper clips don't go flying across the room. That's really the whole need for having short sides on that. So anything will do for that second part. If you don't have 50 paper clips at home, feel free to watch the video. I had initially hoped that my son would help me with this, and well, he got excited making corn plastic. So we didn't get to that part. So you have to bear with me when you have to listen to my voice some more and not see my cute son. But there are videos and pictures posted so that you can complete this activity through video observations. You will need to reference the data table that is provided with today's activity. You can do this in your notebook. That's totally fine. You can record this digitally. That's fine. It is not necessary for you to print anything. Okay, so your options are there. Please work through the video recording your data. Go ahead, pause the video pause my instructions at this point so that you can do that because I'm going to continue on in a moment to the follow-up. So there are some questions for you to respond to after the activity. I do want you to give those a shot before you listen to my discussion and conversation on them. This gives you a chance to process and kind of gauge where you're at in understanding what we're doing. The rest of this video today is going to be available for you to hear some of the explanation behind the responses to the questions. So this is like your way of checking your work. So the first one asked why there were 5 trials needed in part 1 and there was only 1 trial in part 2. If you hadn't caught on to my directions, this is really the explanation that I was trying to get at in my directions to you. There were 2 ways that fish spawn, either over a period of time. And so the first part was showing you the five nights that fish would spawn over, or the single event spawning. And that would have been the all at once, the 25 paper clips that represented the eggs, the other 25 with the sperm that were all on one day spawning into the river. So the question 2 was, which method of spawning had the greater number of fertilizations? But typically speaking, because I know that your results may have varied, typically speaking, the single event spawning has a higher success rate. And that is true for, again, generally speaking, because you have greater number of eggs and sperm in the same location that would increase the chances of fertilization. So if you looked at my pictures, it was very rare to have a connection. We were looking at maybe a 20%, maybe 20% success rate with the single event spawning. The next one, looking at your data table, I want you to subtract 1/5 of the fertilizations from each trial because, let's be honest, in nature, this spawning would not happen in an isolated setting, free of predators. So there are predators out there that eat those fish eggs, or any possible fertilized eggs as well. So after that, you're going to see, and again, I don't have your data, so this is just kind of in the generally speaking. You're looking at the probability of success decreasing when you subtract that 1/5 of fertilizations. So decreasing by about 16% with the spawning over 5 nights, and spawning in a single event decreases to about 52%. So this is where we get to the meat of what our target is really asking you, and why do some fish have reproductive behaviors that vary? So why do some spawn over a period of time instead of having a single spawn event? And if we're talking about this honestly, because there are reasons why this is successful with both methods. And that has a lot to do with location and predators. Okay, so we're talking about these behaviors, and it really is about what a plant or animal does. And so these behaviors in particular are all about success in reproduction for that continuation of the species. So some fish spawn in different locations with these different methods to avoid predators eating those eggs. Predator eats it, no baby fishies. All right, so the last two questions. With the single event spawning, this is kind of what I've already been addressing. With the greater chance of fertilization and baby survival for some fish, it is more successful depending again on location, predators, where they have greater likelihood of offspring survival. And if you have egg-eating predators, well, you're looking at a decrease in probability of success in reproduction with spawning. The predators are what are out there eating them. You all have seen Finding Nemo, right? Kind of that case in point. I don't want to traumatize you, but you know, predators come along and gobble up all of those eggs. And then any likelihood of offspring go with it. Because they need to survive by taking in food. It's kind of that cycle of life business there. All right, so here's your assignment. Make sure you're accessing it on Google Classroom. This is claim, evidence, and reasoning. So I want you to make a claim. Which type of spawning is more successful? I've typed in red, like your sentence starters. I've included some information with the asterisks to help you narrow this. I know we haven't done a lot of this formally, even though we have had claim, evidence, and reasoning in class. We've had this in our discussions. I'm just asking you now to put it on paper. So you're going to pick one with your claim. You only have two options. So pick one, and then what data do you have that supports your claim? And then the reasoning, this is the science explanations behind why it happens. So the claim is what you're seeing happen, what you believe. Evidence is the data that supports your claim. The reasoning is the science behind it, okay? So you have my class time hours. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing your work. Talk to you guys later.